Oilrig is one of the most unique maps in the Counter-Strike franchise, since it's the only one to be officially released in the long-forgotten Assassination game mode. Also known as the VIP game mode, its setup was quite interesting. One of the cities spawned as the so-called VIP, who got extra armor but couldn't use any guns other than his starting USP. And his objective was simple, just escape the map by reaching an extraction point, while T's tried to stop him from doing so, either by killing him, which automatically won them the round, no matter how many other cities were left, or by letting the time run out. Basically, you can think of it as hostage rescue, but one of the cities is the hostage that can also be killed. From my experience, this game mode was quite unbalanced, pretty much forcing cities to play with one player less while defending a very fragile objective that is just one headshot away from losing them the entire round. Nonetheless, Oilrig became very iconic and is fondly remembered by anyone who played CS 1.6 back in the day. But I don't want to gush over the past too much. Let's find out. Does it hold up in CS2? Alright, so we queued up a proper competitive 5v5 game on the CS2 port of Oilrig made by... this guy. And the first question on everyone's mind was, how the hell do you even play Assassination game mode in CS2? Well, that's the neat thing, you don't. The mapper who ported the map couldn't add a whole new game mode, so he came up with an interesting compromise. He added a single hostage to city spawn and made the extraction point into a hostage rescue zone. So basically we can imagine that the hostage is the VIP, and in my opinion this makes the game mode so much better. Now that the team can choose who will carry the VIP, and that player can actually defend himself with proper weapons, as well no longer loses his team the entire round if he dies, this pretty much solves all of my main problems I had with the Assassination game mode. Anyway, let's play already. The first round began. We picked up the hostage and fumbled around city spawn until we realized that the only way to go is through this big room.
Where do we have to go?
I don't know.
Yeah,
here.
we need to go to the other side of the big room.
It's huge and has many accessible floors and windows. By the time cities start approaching it, Ts will be already pouring in from all sorts of positions, including the floors below or the numerous vents up above. So it's very hard to push through, often resulting in death. Now, this map does something that I personally like to call the just add more stuff design. How it works is, for example, here we have this big deathmatch room that is very hard to push into as a city. So to buff them, we add a window in city spawn. But that window turns out too strong, so we add a one-way vent for terrorists to get behind that window. But that is still not enough, so we add another vent above the window, and so on and so on. This approach to map making was quite common back then. For a better known example, we can also look at the original Cobble. In a similar way, its maker felt that the terrorists were too vulnerable to aggressive pushes from cities, so he added a tower in T-spawn that Ts can hold the pushes from. But then it turned out to be too strong, so he also added windows on the opposite side for cities. And you get the point. This design isn't necessarily bad, but it definitely feels like it treats the symptoms rather than addressing the root causes of the issues on the map, while at the same time also creating a bunch of unnecessary angles that make playing it feel messy and confusing. And after a couple of rounds of trying to leave city spawn, we eventually figured out the proper way to hold off terrorists. Finally, we were able to progress a bit deeper. From the main room there's basically two ways to get up, either through this catwalk on the side, or up this huge freight elevator. Yeah, you heard me right. A working elevator.
That's a
From back when the maps were actually fun and serious.
Oh, no way.
And now that we're up, we just need to get to the rescue helicopter. Though there is a problem. All of the roofs on this map are accessible. And you can bet there will be a T with an op waiting for you up on top of that communications tower. From here it really starts feeling like a special operation. You, with the few teammates who are still alive, slowly progress through this rig, tactically checking every corner and listening for any sign of the other team. Finally getting close to the helipad, knowing that between escape and death is just a few meters of completely exposed open space. It gets pretty real. And that is the biggest compliment I can give to this map. It really gives you this, I don't know, tactical experience type situation, which we usually associate more with games like Rainbow Six rather than Counter-Strike.
Nice.
Oh my god, we getting paid it.
Surprisingly enough, even though the map itself is seemingly very T-sided, we finished the first half with a perfect 6-6 score. I think it's in big thanks to the hostage game mode, since picking up the hostage affords you a good amount of money, and we pick up the hostage at the start of every single round. Even though the map itself is quite T-sided, the economy leaned much more in favor of cities, which was a refreshing change of pace, which I think really helped out with the overall balance. But once we switched to T-side, any hope for this map's competitiveness was lost because of these spawns.
Okay.
What? You just
This
spawned
is
in a
horrific.
random
Where the
location.
fuck are we?
So terrorists spawn just randomly all around the map. And I in general don't really like random spawns, but this is like on a whole new level. For example, you can spawn right under city spawn, or on this roof that it usually cannot even boost onto. It's crazy and explains all of the weird timings we encountered while playing the first half. Nonetheless, as our T-half went on, it boiled down to us just camping really hard. You know, spawning on a tower with my trusty auto-sniper and just sitting there the whole round isn't too exciting, though really lets you appreciate this map's aesthetics. Something about combining low-res textures, especially this beautiful low-resolution skybox, with ambient sounds of the sea really puts my mind at ease. Maybe it's just nostalgia, or maybe there is something special about it. In general, Oilrigs are kind of a special place, in a way that no one really sees them or thinks about them in their day-to-day life, except of course from people who work there, who also live there. Did you know shifts on an oil rig can last up to 4 weeks? Just imagine being for a month straight, somewhere nowhere out in the middle of the ocean. I would go crazy. Basically, the point is that these locations are rarely thought of and are quite lonely in real life, yet are so common as a video game level. Probably thanks to the general industrial Vim letting mappers freely design whatever they want and just justify it as crates or containers and barrels, cause of course they would be on an oil rig. I myself made an oil rig level once for CSGO, way back, when Freeclicks Philip was doing his whole defenestration game mode thing.
One of 2 defenestration maps that T1 Muir has made. It looks
You know, it was quite similar to what we played today. His game mode also had cities pick up the hostage right at the start and try to get them to the rescue zone, though without the whole jumping into a death pit part. I worked on it for days, adjusting balance, fixing the economy and polishing this mode to be as good as it can possibly get. While the map was hosted on Philip's servers, I updated it 4 to 5 times a day, regularly asking him to enable all sorts of features and often crashing the server. So many good maps were made for defenestration, many good memories, and many good friends that I still have to this day. Visiting this map again, this time alone, to see the digital 2D sunset brings it all back, all thanks to this oil rig. Bruh, I promised to not gush about the past and here we are. Right, let's get back on track. So yeah, we camped really hard and ended up winning the game. Overall, it was quite fun. I think this game mode is superb and has lots of potential, honestly might even be better than regular hostage rescue mode. But Oilrig is definitely pretty old for today's standards and it really shows. I think at the very least making the T's actually spawn together would already make this map make much more sense, though I'm not sure what knock-on effect would it have on the rest of it. As well, just adjusting all of the crazy angles and events, making the gameplay a little bit more focused would go a long way. Perhaps Oilrig doesn't play that well, but at the end of the day, it is the map that laid the foundation for this game mode. I think it did its best, similarly to how Dust 1 was the groundwork for Diffusal. Now we just need to find Oilrig's Dust 2. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and consider subscribing. Tell me what do you think of Oilrig, and I'll see you next week with a brand new upload. But for now, bye bye.